morning, Elizabeth.
Morning, Elizabeth.
How are you?
I'm very well. How are you?
I'm great. I'm great. So this morning I'm speaking with Elizabeth Hill, not to be confused with me, Elizabeth Hall, and Elizabeth is also a life coach.
Hmm.
Um, and and you've written a couple books as well, which I would love for you to talk about at the end of this.
Hmm.
Um, and so I wanted to have a conversation with you, like I've been having with some other people, just to sort of talk about, given your life coaching background, and I believe you've got a therapy background too, an
I'm
MS.
a, I have my master's in social work, yes.
Okay,
Hmm.
yeah. So given those tools, I was curious, what are you doing to sort of deal with the new situation that we all are facing right
Mm, yeah, so I must admit that I feel very well prepared for what's going on.
now?
Primarily because I think for most of us, the biggest thing that we're facing is anxiety and fear of the unknown, right? So I myself have faced a lot of anxiety and fear of the unknown every day, no
Hmm.
matter what's going on, and have worked with many clients, both coaching clients and also people that I'm working with. I've taught yoga for years, and a lot of people have come to me for needing to calm down because of a lot of things that were going on in their life. So, in that way, I feel prepared because I do know those tools to do for myself and for other people. And another way I know that I feel prepared, and I think life coaches are more prepared for this, that we look at what we want to create in life rather than reacting to the circumstances necessarily. We're trained in looking at our schedules, we're trained at prioritizing, we're trained at looking at like a higher elevation of what's important for us rather than just like the day to day, how do I get by this day? So I think that coaches, and thank goodness there's so many coaches right now, right? Because we need us during this time because people are facing things they've never faced before. Um,
Right, absolutely. Yeah, and coaches, I mean, I have a similar experience in that I feel prepared for this as well, mostly due to the coaching work that I've done,
mhm,
um, because there is sort of an invitation to look for a deeper meaning, to look for a bigger picture,
mhm.
to go within and sort of learn how to bring the safety, the feeling of safety from within when it's not coming from without. So.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah, so what are some ways that
Absolutely.
you're actually doing that, either with clients or with yourself?
Yes. So I actually put together 8 different tips. So I thought I'd just go through those.
That'd be
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah. So the first one is to start your day with something that's a routine that's very good for your soul, right? So this could be something that it could literally be a minute. It could be 3 minutes. For me, it's something that takes about 20 minutes or so, 20 to 30, where for myself, I do a little writing practice because sometimes I wake up and I feel stressed and I write about that and then I write about things that are going well for me, right? So a little bit of a gratitude practice. And then I do meditation because for me, mantra meditation really helps me start the day off right. And so that's what I encourage people to do. But for people, it's going to be different. Some people need to get up and move around some, right? Some people might need to add movement to it. Some people might want to incorporate music or some type of art, right? People are different, so they need different things, but some kind of thing that really sources them. I think it's a wonderful thing to start the day with. So that's the
Hmm.
first
Hmm.
thing. The second one is decide how you structure your days. So this is create some kind of schedule. Now, I'm someone that I'm very scheduled, like normally, and I think we might both be that type of people, right? But right now it's kind of different in that I'm kind of getting pulling my hands off from it a little bit, and it's not hyper scheduled. But we do have, I have my client calls in the morning, we're doing lunch, and then I'm making all, like, me and the kids, we're getting outside, we need to get outside, and this is something honestly we didn't do before on a everyday basis, and now we are. So that's a blessing in that because I know it's good for us.
Hmm.
um, so have a structure, but you also don't need to be hyper vigilant on it. Just have a few things that like it gives people a sense of safety and like security that there's some things they can expect, but it doesn't need to be like hour by hour. Number 3 is use common sense precautions and let that be enough, right? It's so easy. You could spend all day washing your hands and wiping down things. I mean, you just, and so I think it's good that we just go, you know what? Let's just do a few things, and then that's it. Like, then give yourself permission to do other stuff, right? Because there's only so much we can do.
Absolutely.
Right. 4 is time outside daily, right? Get outside and breathe. Things feel much worse inside. That if this happens to me, I'll step outside and go, oh, things don't feel bad, right? 5, stay connected with those that lift you up. So this is something, I mean, we all have those people. And if you don't have them, you can find those people because there are many of them.
Exactly.
That will lift us up. And so take a few moments and think about, okay, who are those people that like I talk to and I feel just, oh, I feel more like myself. I feel like, okay, things are going to be okay. They might be people you can vent to and they'll be there for you. And just make a point of reaching out to them, right? Calling them and or FaceTiming or something so you can see their faces.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah, that's one of the main reasons I'm even doing this interview series, because it just selfishly,
yes,
some of the people that I know who are in this healing space and are going to lift me up as well. So
absolutely. And I love that that's one of the reasons I wrote my book is I was writing what I needed to hear, right? That's when we create for that place. It's perfect for us and for the world, right? Because it's needed. So let's see. Number 6, boundaries for conversation. So even though people are going to call us on the phone, and for those of us that are living with kids or other family members, right, they might bring conversations that we might not necessarily want to be in. But we do get to choose which ones we might not get to always choose the ones that we hear, but we can choose the ones that we will cultivate and continue with. So I have had to, people have called me very well-meaning relatives with advice and all this, and I've had to say, you know what? I know that you're telling me this because you love me and you want me to be well. We're okay. We're fine. We're healthy. We're doing great, actually, health-wise over here. Right? So to say, I mean, it's hard to not get angry sometimes, but you can have some boundaries, and that's going to help them too, because then they're not kind of doing a
yeah, because sometimes that spiral, people can feed off of the spiral, and everyone then ends up not being able to access sort of the other places, which will bring in some more compassion or love or something to combat the fear. So
yeah,
it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. So boundaries for news. So, and I think in talking with people, this is something I really used to push with my clients, and say, hey, just don't watch it before you go to bed. Don't watch it first thing in the morning when you wake up. But it's healthy to know what's going on, right? And I'm finding that a lot of people I'm talking to at least are kind of self-regulating on this and are realizing maybe I'm not going to watch the news all day long, because some people used to, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, yeah, but I think what I'm doing for myself is if the president speaks, I'm listening to that. If the governor speaks, I will watch that for this time. And that's not something I usually choose, but for this time I am. And then the evening news. And then that's it. That's all I'm listening to. And I think it's kind of choosing what it is and kind of sticking to those.
Yeah, I found early on I had to draw a boundary around that for myself as well, because obviously in the beginning you're very curious what's happening, and I started watching it a lot. And then I found after every time I would spend some time watching it, I'd come out with these very just fear-based things to my kids or my family that was beyond the just do the protocols. And so I realized, oh wow, this is really getting me revved up. And it's not entirely useful because we're already doing the protocols. We're already staying home. We're already taking precautions.
Mhm.
So I found that if I just limited it to checking in maybe once a day, maybe not even, that
Mhm.
I was feeling much more grounded. So,
Yes. Yes, I think that's so smart. Yeah, because
yeah.
it's very easy to go from fine to like spiral out
Mhm.
into anxiety on it, right?
Yeah.
Because it's that's how it's designed to make you feel
Mhm.
that way, so you're hooked, right?
Right.
So,
Right.
um, and the last one is spending time doing what you love, right? So this is a time that I mean, I'm very busy, but I'm still having more time that I can do the things that I want to do. Like I picked up a guitar for the first time in a gazillion years, even though it's been like on my list to like learn a new song, and it's been a very long time. And so it didn't sound so good,
Mhm.
but maybe it will if I keep
Right.
picking it up,
You got some time.
Exactly. So I think for all of us, this is giving us a time to really wake up and go, well, what do I really want to do? What's important to me? We were so busy before,
Mhm.
right? And some people still are, right? But it was like a hyper, like externally focused, this is a time that gives us like, oh, we can go inward, we can reflect on what we really want. So,
Yeah. Yeah. What's really important? How do we want to spend our time? So,
mhm,
and I realize not everybody has the luxury to feel like they have a choice right now, because there are definitely people who are still working extremely
mhm,
hard,
mhm, mhm,
and especially our front lines and our healthcare workers and whatnot.
right.
But for those of us that do have this opportunity to step off the hamster wheel for a minute,
Mhm.
it does feel super important to really figure out what the deeper meaning is in this moment. Yeah.
Mhm, mhm. Yeah.
Yeah, that's lovely. So I love the idea of sort of the loose schedule as well. I actually am a recovering overscheduler where I used to have it to the minute.
Yeah, yeah. Guilty. Yeah,
Yeah. So
yeah.
this is actually also an interesting practice in trusting that what needs to get done will get done, and letting go of a little bit of that self, because it was all me putting the pressure on,
Right,
and just sort of letting go a little bit. So
right.
yeah.
I think it's yeah, it's we get a chance to do that. And I know that I had been someone that with my kids are 13 and 14, and we've kind of stopped doing even before this, right? Doing a lot of activities because we were all kind of just fed up with the race of it.
Hmm.
And school was enough. They're exhausted. They go to school. It's exhausting. Going to class, so many people they have to see every day. It's overwhelming. So for me, we kind of decided, we're just gonna cut back. And now it's very. That's being, you know, we aren't going anywhere. We're
Cut
not doing
back even more. Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
So um, in person, and so it's. But I think there's blessings in it for us, for all of us, to reconnect with each other and everything. And I'm playing Yahtzee every day, and I love Yahtzee. So
Interesting. And
Scrabble
are you playing it with the kids?
with my son James.
Okay.
We do Yahtzee, we do Boggle, or we do Scrabble.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, last night we all sat around the dinner table after dinner and played some games as well. And the reason that doesn't normally happen is because nobody's generally home. Somebody's at practice, somebody's at college,
Right.
So here we are with this completely unique opportunity, having everyone sitting around the table. And
Right.
yeah, those are some of the blessings we've been noticing as well.
Yeah.
Or having all the kids go outside and play. I mean, they haven't done that in a decade.
Right. I know. I know.
It's beautiful.
Wow.
Yeah. So again, would you say it's sort of your morning, that first step that you were talking about, that sort of sets you up for the rest of the day? Do you kind of ever go back to that during the day, or do you find you're good to go sort of once you've done that writing and that meditation?
Well, I do. One thing I am working on that I just started on Tuesday was I have a very, I had just built up a good yoga routine of going to classes, and I was going to like 3 or 4 a week, and now we can't go. And I cannot get myself to do a routine of doing the classes if they're online, like if they're just, because there's many classes that you can find and watch. And I'm a yoga teacher. I know how to do yoga, but I just can't get myself to do an actual long practice more than like 10 minutes if it's not live. So I found 2 classes that I like this past week that are online that I can do while the teacher's doing it. It's live, right?
Okay.
So this week I'm going to build that into my schedule, because for me, if I need it for my brain, I need it for my body, like my physical. If I don't do yoga for a week, my back hurts. So I need to do this. So that's one thing I'm going to build in. And I think the other thing that helps me is I put a timer on my phone a few times a day to check in with source or check in with like inner wisdom, to just kind of go, okay, what's going on? What am I doing right now? To tune in. And that's been helpful too. Because when I do that, then I do get, when I ask, okay, well, what's next, or what do I need? Usually the message is something like, you need a break, or you need this, or go talk to your daughters, find out what she's doing. It's simple things, and it kind of brings me back in and can help me.
Absolutely. Yeah, our inner wisdom is always simple, and that's one thing I don't know if many people realize. It's simple, and it's easy, and it's compassionate. It might just give one word like trust or rest. So yeah, that's beautiful. That's a great reminder to take that pause during the day.
Thank you.
Yeah, and then I find that we're more intentional when we go forward with our next action, because we've sort of waited to see if that's the thing that we really want to do, need to do, instead of just spinning out more so on that hamster wheel. So
and it feels better too, taking that next step. I know that feeling, right, in our body, where it's like this frazzly, like scattered thing. And when you tune in and just get quiet, just for a little bit even, it feels like more healthier. It feels like, oh, okay, it's going to be fine. We're going to be fine.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah. I was noticing this week, and I was actually trying to practice the intentional pause and sort of the intentional transition. And I was finding that the benefit is then your next action is sort of aligned with wherever you are in the moment, as opposed to something coming from your mind where you had made a list and you're just trying to follow it, and it's not resonating with what you need in that moment. So
absolutely.
Now, will you be able to share some of the websites where you're getting your yoga from, so that I can post them under the video?
Oh, sure.
Just online websites? Okay, great. I'll post those. And I'd love it if you would just share a little bit about the books that you've written.
Yes. Thank you. Yeah, about 4 years ago, I wrote Green Your Heart, Green Your World. So, and the tagline is Avoid Burnout, Save the World, and Love Your Life. So that's a lot of different practices that are, it's written primarily for people that are the helpers in the world, right? Like people that are spending a lot of time taking care of others, whether it's professionally or just because that's who they are. And it's meditation practices, it is writing prompts, and it's things that you can just use in your daily life to help you take care of this person, right? Take care of yourself, and give you permission to take care of yourself first, which was a huge shift for me and a lot of people, to recognize that that's not selfish. It's actually the most loving thing you can do, because then you're able to be there really fully and really lovingly for the people in your lives. So that's what that book is. And then my most recent book, which was just released on February 14th for Valentine's Day, is Love Notes, Daily Wisdom for the Soul. So that, and could I read today's, because it's perfect.
I would love it. Yeah, that'd be fantastic.
Yeah, it's so perfect. So it's quotes every day, and then I write a little thing about it, right? So for March 27th, in the name of God, stop a moment, cease your work, look around you. Leo Tolstoy, right?
Absolutely.
Set down your work, look up, look around. Who are these people that surround you? What are these things that surround you? What is this air that you breathe? What is present that might have gone unnoticed? Love and looking.
Wow, I get goosebumps from that. That's so timely. Well, and both of these books are so timely because even, you know, we're recognizing our connectedness through this experience and how we're all helpers and we all need to take care of each other. So that first book sounds perfect for the people who are now going to be, you know, on the front lines of helping other people. And then the second one is just a beautiful reminder of love. Yeah, that's fantastic. Well, thank you so much for joining us and giving us your tips. And I'll post your book links and the yoga links under the video. Yeah, and I really appreciate your presence today. So.
Oh, thank you. It's been a pleasure talking with you, as always.
Well, we'll talk soon.
All right. Thanks.